This is also a February-March paper for extended February-March 2022 extended paper 2. Please, I need you to subscribe if you've not subscribed, and click the notification button and also the like button if you actually like this video. And this is the extended paper 2022 February March Biology paper 2. Okay, let's have a quick run through. 45 minutes, but hopefully we use lesser time. Okay, first question here is, the diagram shows a test tube containing pond water. Now the green color is caused by microorganisms that have chloroplasts. Now first we have pale green pondweed. Now as light intensity begins to shine on it, what happened? The dark green area, so you find out that the first thing is the pondweed, the what is it called, the green pond water concentrate in this area. So one major thing that happens there is they were able to move that movement. Now oxygen bubble is produced, and for oxygen bubble to produce, that means they are photosynthesizing, and that's an example of what is it called again, nutrition, because you're looking at characteristics of living things. Then another thing is, since they move and concentrate in the area where there is light, that means they are also sensitive. So the three things we've looked at: movement, nutrition, and sensitivity. So movement, nutrition, and sensitivity, your answer is a B. Now they say the key shows some features of living organisms that can be used to place them into one of three different kingdoms. So they say, which row identify these three kingdoms, X, Y, and Z? So the first thing here is living organism, nucleus present, no nucleus, kingdom Z. So no cell wall. Now cell wall present, cell wall made of cellulose, yes, kingdom Y. Not made of cellulose, kingdom. So no nucleus, living organism without a true nucleus. Let me see, those are organisms without nucleus, prokaryote, like bacteria. Bacteria don't have nucleus, they only have strands of DNA. So if they are prokaryote, I know this is wrong, this is wrong, so I have my answer between A and C. Now Y cannot be a plant because plants have cell wall made up of cellulose, so X will be a plant. So X is a plant, so my answer will be C, plant, fungi, and prokaryote. Now so the diagram shows a mitochondrion, and the scale bar shows the actual size of the mitochondrion. Now this is in micrometers. They say the diagram is this. What is the magnification? Magnification is equal to image size over actual size. Remember your triangle. So this is MIA. So image size in this case, in the diagram, it will be 70, and we're told that the diagram is 70 millimeters, and I have the scale bar show the actual size. So if the scale bar show the actual size, it will be divided by 1 micrometers. Remember, this is millimeters and this is in micrometers. So magnification it will be this. So what you do is, in this case, will be you have to convert. My feature is image over actual. So the diagram is this. The scale bar shows the actual size of the mitochondrion. So if this is the actual size of my mitochondrion, I need to change for you to divide. Okay, sorry. For you to be able to divide, you need to convert the units to be equal. So what you would do is, how do you convert from millimeters to micrometers? You multiply by 1000. So my answer will be M will be equal to 70 times 1000 divided by 1. Now that will convert it to micrometers. So for me to be able to divide, that will be 70,000 divided by 1. So my answer will still be 70,000 micrometers. So that's D. Now some people might also decide to convert micrometers to millimeters to divide. So from micrometers to millimeters, you divide by 1000. So once you get that, you convert this. That will now give you in millimeters. You do it, you still get the same answer. Okay, they said two types of cell, one animal and one plant, were examined using a light microscope. Which row shows the correct combination of structures that will be observed in the cell? Now, cell structure observed: animal cell, plant cell. Animal cells don't have chloroplast. Animal cells, let me see. Animal cells don't have cell wall. I mean, animal cells don't have chloroplast here. So obviously, my answer would be B. Without even looking at this. So, but looking at this, you find out that it has chloroplast and cell membrane. Now, they say the diagram shows a section, cross section through a leaf, which arrow shows the direction of diffusion of carbon dioxide on a sunny day. So, on a sunny day, you expect carbon dioxide to move into the leaf through the stomata. So, D. So the diagram shows a plant cell after it has been submerged in solution P for 20 minutes. Now you find out that it has loose content from inside the cell, so solution P should be should have low water potential. So it has water has diffused, has moved out of the cell through osmosis into the solution for 20 minutes. Now, which row describe the water potential of solution P at the start of the experiment and the condition of the cell at 20? Water potential higher than inside of the cell, that's wrong. Higher than inside of the cell, that's wrong. So the water potential is lower than inside the cell, the same, that's wrong. So my answer, if I know is lower, I know this wrong. So plasmolizes and becomes flaccid. So the answer is a C. Is C, life. So 7. Which row is correct for a positive test of vitamin C? Vitamin C, you use DCP IP dye, and the dye is what? Blue in color. And when you add drops of vitamin C, it becomes colorless. So final result is colorless. The answer is B. Color of the food test reagent is blue, but I know the final result will become colorless, and it's only that you have. Heat is not required, so the answer is B. Now, in which molecule are cross-linked between bases? Cross-link between bases. This is quite straightforward. Cross-link between bases is DNA. You don't have carbohydrate. No. Now, which control the speed of chemical reaction in all living cells? That's enzymes. Now, enzymes have an optimum temperature at which they are most active. Yeah. Which row explain why enzyme activity decrease if the temperature is not optimum? Below optimum temperature, enzyme do not denature below optimum temperature. So I know my A and B is wrong. Now, enzyme have less kinetic energy. That's correct at low temperature. Now, at above optimum temperature, enzymes will denature. So the answer to that question, this question will be C. Number 11. Okay, a piece of foil was placed over one green and white leaf on a plant. So if this is a white, this is a green part, that means only this part will be able to photosynthesize. This part will photosynthesize, but this part will not photosynthesize because it's covered with foil. So light cannot be absorbed. So the part The plant was placed under bright light for 24 hours. So diagram shows which diagram shows the area of the leaf that would stain blue-black with iodine solution? So with iodine solution, I think A will be this area that photosynthesize will give you a blue-black color. Now, question 12. The graph shows the effect of light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis. Which environmental factor is a limiting the rate of photosynthesis at X? Now, increase in light intensity increases the rate of photosynthesis, but you get to a point where no matter the increase in light intensity, the other factors can become a limiting factor in the reaction. So, what is limiting photosynthesis here? Because it will still be light intensity, because light intensity is not at optimum. At this point, light intensity is optimum. So, the only other factors can limit photosynthesis from here, but at this point, the limiting factor is still light. Now, which condition can be caused by lack of fiber in a diet? That's constipation, right, where you don't have a proper digestion. Now, in which test tube will the breakdown of fat be fastest? Now, milk, lipase, and bile. Milk and lipase, milk and bile, milk, boiled lipase, and bile. Now, if you boil the lipase, it will denature because it's an enzyme. So the bile here will help to carry out emulsification of fat, give it a large surface area for the enzyme lipase to work on. So the answer is A. 15. The diagram shows stages in the passage of water through a plant. Which row shows the water moving in the form of water vapor? First, absorption through root hair cells, transport through xylem. It now gets to the leaf, it moves from cell to cell through division and out of the cell in the form of water vapor through the stomata. So my answer is B. Now the diagram shows some potato tuber. New shoots are beginning to grow. Sucrose is being transported from source to sink. Which statement is correct? In this case, the tuber is the source because the shoot has not developed leaf that can photosynthesize. So the shoot are the source. That's wrong. The shoot are the sink. Sink, remember, is where it is being stored or used. So the shoot is the sink, but the tuber here will be the source because the leaf is not photosynthesizing, and to be transported from source to sink. So the shoot will be the sink because here at this point it is used. Now the diagram shows a section through the human heart. What is the function of Q? Q is a valve, and the function of valves is to prevent backflow of blood. C. During the process of blood clotting, damage to blood vessels stimulates L and M is converted to N. I know M, which is fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is converted to fibrin. So which is, I know fibrinogen is converted to fibrin, which is insoluble. So L is a platelet. The answer is D. Now, which statement about passive immunity is correct? Antibiotics are required. Antibiotics are required in passive immunity. That's correct. Because it gives no, it is no, memory cells no. The answer is. Compared with inspired air, which description of expired air is correct? It has less oxygen. Yes. And less carbon dioxide. No. It has less oxygen and more carbon dioxide. B. Now, which row shows the features of gas exchange surface in humans? Surface area, it has a large surface area, but thickness is thin to be efficient in diffusion. So your answer is B. Now, yeast is placed inside a container full of glucose solution. Sorry about this. Full of glucose solution with no air. So if there is no air, it will respire anaerobically. And yeast respire anaerobically to produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. So what is the equation? The word equation will be A. Now, the process, which process uses energy released in respiration? No, growth. Which term describe the removal of nitrogen containing part of amino acid to form urea is deamination. Which numbered parts form the central nervous system? Is the brain, which is 1, and the spinal cord, which is 2. So my answer is 1 and 2. B. So the diagram shows a section through the eye of an octopus. Octopuses have eyes that are similar in structure to that of humans. So they said, remember, pupil, the entrance into your lens, that's the pupil. So 5 is my pupil. Your iris is 4. Your cornea is 6. This is the lens. So let's see, do we have any lens that is 2? Okay, so my answer is between B and D. What about, let me come to cornea. Cornea is 6. Is there cornea here? 6. Obviously my answer will be D. Quick, you don't have to, but you need to be very careful not to make mistakes. Now, a person eats a large bowl of rice. Rice contains starch. What happens to the amount of insulin and glycogen in the body? When you eat insulin and glycogen in the body, when you eat a large bowl. Now, insulin, there will be increase in glucose, thereby there should be increase in insulin to convert the excess glucose to glycogen. So both of them should increase. 27. Glycogen. What happens to the amount of insulin and glucagon? Sorry, I thought it's glycogen because insulin will convert rice to glycogen for storage, but glucagon convert excess glycogen back to glucose. So when you eat a large bowl of rice, there should be increase in glucose, so insulin will be produced to convert the glucose to glycogen. So insulin will increase, but glucagon will decrease because they don't need to convert any form of glycogen stored. So your answer is C. Now, a study investigated the effect of arm muscle surface area of taking testosterone. So, arm muscle surface area of taking testosterone and doing exercise. The participants in the study were given either testosterone or a placebo. The placebo does not contain any testosterone. The bar chart shows the result of the study. Average change in arm muscle surface area, placebo, exercise, then no exercise. Now, which conclusion about the data in the graph is correct? Exercise has no effect on the muscle of the arm. That's wrong, because the placebo here is when you exercise, the arm muscle increase, but placebo do not develop male secondary sexual characteristics. So I know my A is wrong. Then let's see, what is B saying? No exercise and not taking testosterone has the greatest. No exercise and not taking has the greatest arm muscle. That's wrong. Now, exercise has the same effect on arm muscle surface area with no exercise. That's wrong. So taking testosterone increase that's arm muscle. Which statement about reproduction is correct? All living species can reproduce asexually? No. Gametes are needed for asexual reproduction? No. Only organisms that are separated from other organisms of the same species can reproduce asexually? No. Some organisms reproduce asexually and correct asexually. Now, what will happen if a woman smokes during pregnancy? Nicotine can cross the placenta and affect the fetus. That's correct. 31. The graph shows the 4 hormones that control the menstrual cycle. Which curve on the graph represents the LH? Luteinizing hormone causes ovulation, that is on day 14. It makes the egg is released. So this is LH. Now, so the answer is C, causes ovulation. Now, what happens to the mass of DNA in the nucleus during mitosis? Before mitosis occur. Sorry, mass of nucleus before mitosis occur. Now, simple. It needs to divide into 2 equal of the same. So it halves, no, it stays the same, no, it halves, and then no, it doubles. Now, in a species of pea plant, height is controlled by one gene. The allele for tall is dominant to the allele for short. A test cross is done to identify the genotype of a tall pea plant. Now, the table shows the possible phenotype of the offspring and a description of the genotype of a tall pea plant. Now, phenotype of the offspring: all tall, all short, tall and short. Now, if they say first, in the species of pea plant, height is controlled by one gene. The allele for tall plant is dominant to the allele for short plant. A test cross is done to identify the genotype of the tall plant. Now, the allele for tall plant is dominant over the allele for short plant. So you can have T, small t, right? If you have capital T, small t, and you cross the two together, capital T, small t, what you have is first, phenotype of the offspring. Will there be all tall? In a species of pea plant, height is controlled by one gene. The allele for tall is dominant to the allele for short. A test is done to identify the genotype of a tall pea plant. So you crossbreed it. Let's say we crossbreed with 2 short plants first. All the offspring will be, if you do your Punnett square, capital T, small t, you expect all the offspring first to be capital T, small t, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, capital T, small t. So they are all tall in terms of their phenotype. Offspring are all tall. Now, are they homozygous dominant? And you can now, a test cross is done to identify. Once they are all tall, you can now crossbreed their offspring because you are trying to identify. So that will now, if you crossbreed the offspring, tall, short, you now have, sorry, you have tall, you have tall, short, you have another tall, you have, short. So you have offspring that are also tall and short. But in this case, description of the genotype of the tall plant P. So in this case, they are heterozygous, but in this case, they are homozygous dominant. So what you can have here is all tall if it is homozygous dominant. You have tall and short if it is heterozygous dominant P plant. So my answer here will be C, which will be tall and short. You cannot have all tall and they are heterozygous. This is heterozygous. So now, moving to the next question, 34. Which statement about variation is correct? Continuous variation results in few phenotypes with no intermediaries. Discontinuous variation results in few phenotypes with no intermediaries. Yeah, in discontinuous variation, there are no intermediaries. But in continuous variation, there are intermediaries. So my answer will be B. Some plants have small leaves with thick waxy cuticle. Which row describe the effect of these features on water loss? Small leaves, the amount of water loss will decrease, while the type of plant will be a xerophyte. So 35 will be B. So they are plants that survive in a dry environment. Now, some plants of different species can be crossed with each other to form hybrids that have a diploid number, different from either of the two parent. Some plants of different species can be crossed with each other to form hybrids, yes, that have a diploid number different from either of the two parent species. The diagram shows a cross between plants with different diploid number. Species 1 diploid number is 70, species 2 diploid number is X. Hybrid zygote diploid number. So if the diploid number here is 70, for them to become a zygote, the diploid number need to become haploid. So to form a nucleus, so the haploid number will be 35. So here we don't know what X is, the diploid number for X. So to get the haploid number for X, it will be this zygote, which will be 64 minus 35. This will 14, this will give you 9, this is 5, this will give you 29. So here too you should have 29 for X. So to get the diploid number, it will be 29 plus 29. That will give you, this will give you 18, which is 8158. Your answer is D. The diagram shows some of the stages involved in the nitrogen cycle. Atmospheric nitrogen coming down to form nitrate, plant protein. So which processes are carried out at each stage? Absorption. Absorption should be 2. In this case, 37. Absorption is 2. So it's absorbed by plant root. So I know obviously my answer now will be between A and B. This is absolutely wrong, absolutely wrong. So now, what about decomposition? So once this plant dies, they will now decompose. So 3 will be decomposition. So I have 3 here, I don't have 3 here. My answer obviously to this 37 question will be B. Don't need to go through. Genetically engineered bacteria are used to produce human protein. Yes, in which component of the bacterial cells the DNA is plasmids are inserted to make human protein? It's plasmid. Now, the sugar in milk is digested by an enzyme. Now, which row matches the name of the enzyme with the sugar it digests? The name of the sugar is lactose, which is found in milk and is digested by the enzyme lactase. Enzyme lactase, lactose. If you read the aspect of lactose intolerance in biotechnology, you get that concept. Then 40. The list show activities that happen in the forest: cutting down only selected trees, educating people about forests, replanting trees, and cutting down trees to grow crop plant. Which activity are likely to ensure the forest is used sustainably? Cutting down only selected trees, yes. Now, educating people, yes. Replanting trees, yes. Cutting down trees to grow plants, wrong. So my answer will be 1, 2, 3, A. Okay, that's it. Please. Thank you.